Okay, so last week we spoke quite a bit about the Khamzat Chimaev problem and how he's starting to lose his hype. And this week I thought we could talk about the solution to this because more news came out today that is sort of confirming the rumors. I don't know. There's been heaps of rumors and heaps of people talking about how Khamzat Chimaev isn't performing so much in the UFC because he is having problems entering the USA because of his relationship with Kadyrov. It's one of those things that's never really been confirmed, but it just seems there is so much noise out there that it does seem to be a matter of fact. So firstly, I'm going to show you guys a video from the MMA zone. It's only going to take a couple of seconds. Then we're going to talk about a conversation that we had in the comments section back and forth when I put out that Khamzat Chimaev has lost his hype video. And then I think we can come up with a solution to the Khamzat Chimaev problem. And you guys can let me know about it down there in the comments. So firstly, let's have a look at the MMA Zone video, right? Where it's pretty much confirmed. I don't know who this reporter is, but it's very, very obvious that Khamzat Chimaev is having trouble entering the USA.
Are signed on both sides. As Kareem Zidane indicated as part of his continued coverage of the situation, Khamzat Chimaev isn't actually allowed to enter the US because of sanctions against Chechen dictator Ramzan Kadyrov, with whom he has close ties.
Now, this makes a lot of sense, and one of the commenters that I was speaking with, John, left some really interesting information on the video of Khamzat Chimaev is losing his hype, right? So John says, and he broke it down like this, and again, I had heard these rumors, but I had never heard it broken down in this much detail, okay? So John goes, he can only fight in the UAE because he was put on the no entry sanction list when Sweden officially became a NATO member. Khamzat Chimaev got kicked out of Sweden, Europe, UK, and the USA. Khamzat would go down like a lead balloon if it was known about his association with the terrorist killing US Marines in Syria and the untold murders in Ukraine, Mr. Ramzan Kadyrov, who gave Khamzat a car, which is classified as receiving funds from a wanted terrorist, and Khamzat taught his sons wrestling. The UFC told Khamzat to miss weight because of all the shit going down that week. Khamzat was locked in to be the next big thing at the UFC until receiving funds, the car that he got, from Ramzan Kadyrov. I've been commenting about this for 6 months. It's really old news from back in August in 2023. Okay, there are a couple of things, and me and John went back and forth. I really enjoyed that chat that we had, man. Now, I don't understand how him missing weight solves the problem, right? So you said he missed, the UFC told him to miss weight, and there's heaps of rumors about that as well, but he was still on the card. Like, is it just because, like, to keep him out of the headlines, or to have the headlines talking about something else? Is it just a distraction to distract the media from what was really happening behind the scenes with Khamzat? So that could be it. And then receiving funds from terrorist or some Kadyrov, 100%. I think that is probably what's going on. I think a lot of people know that that is the problem. And if that is a problem, it's not just a problem for the EU. It would also be a problem for the Five Eyes countries as well, I would assume. Like, we would all have very similar terrorist watch lists and no-fly lists. So not only could he not enter the USA, I don't think he could enter any of the major Western countries, could he? He wouldn't be able to enter, say, the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all of those Five Eyes countries, as well as Europe. So we have got this guy, Khamzat Chimaev, who hasn't got a weight class, hasn't got a country, hasn't got a gas tank past a first round. What the hell are we going to do with him? I think it's time that we start looking at Khamzat Chimaev as just a lost case, and we trade him. We look at trading him out of the UFC because he is just a waste of space in the UFC and a waste of mental capacity for UFC fans. There's no need to be interested in Khamzat Chimaev anymore. He can't fight in any Western countries. The UFC is a Western organization. And again, he's not going to be a champion. I mean, anyone in Khamzat's position can be a champion on a given day. This is MMA, but he hasn't got the gas tank to defend multiple 5-round fights if he needs to. I mean, he has a champion like Sean Strickland became a chance of becoming a champion against Israel Adesanya. No one saw that coming, but it happened. Everyone in the top 5 has a chance. But even so, that point aside, I think it is time that we start to look at transferring Khamzat Chimaev, or at least looking for a trade. So who would we go with? Where would we look? Well, in my mind, I don't understand why we can't look to trade with one championship again. We've already done it with Demetrius Johnson and Ben Askren. Now, some people say that one championship won that trade and that it wouldn't be good for the UFC to do it again. But when you look at Ben Askren, what we got when we got Ben Askren was a really fun fight with Robbie Lawler and then that Masvidal moment. And although Ben Askren didn't do as well in the UFC as the GOAT Demetrius Johnson has done over at one championship, we still had that Masvidal moment and had that Masvidal superstar created off that trade. So it wasn't entirely a wash. It wasn't completely a loss. And there's no reason that we can't go ahead and do a trade like that again. So if you have someone like Khamzat Chimaev, who doesn't do great interviews, doesn't speak great English, doesn't really have a weight class, who could we trade him for that would be a benefit for the UFC over at one championship? I would be making serious moves. If I was Dana White, I would be making serious moves to go ahead and try and get Jonathan Hagy. John Hagy, English, speaks English, can get into it on the microphone. Hagy, 27 years old, at 145 pounds, Muay Thai fighter, kickboxer. We have seen Muay Thai fighters and kickboxers transition over to full MMA very well, all right? There's Rafael Fiziev. There's obviously Israel Adesanya. There is Alex Pereira, obviously, and Yuri Prohaska. Like, these guys can make the transition when they take their time and they're taught to do it properly. And John Hagy would be a awesome addition to the 145 division. It would start to mix things up so nicely with Volk aging out, with Max Holloway maybe looking at lightweight. If that fight with Justin Gaethje goes well, you could take John Hagy and just slide him into 145 so nicely and have something new and something fresh to talk about. I mean, this weekend we're going to lose Ortega from the rankings, obviously. So it just seems like the right time. Like, we're losing at 145 pounds. We're pretty much going to lose Ortega this weekend. We might lose Max Holloway to the lightweight. And Alexander Volkanovski is going to need a significant amount of time off, but he is clearly moving into that gatekeeper position. I love Volk. We've talked about how much I love Volk on this channel, but I do not see him making a title resurgence. So he is now that name for new talent to be tested again. And just imagine in 6 months or 8 months in the future, all of this excitement and news coming out. The UFC have transferred Khamzat Chimaev over to one championship, which have the majority of their events over in Singapore and in Thailand, something that he shouldn't have any issue traveling to because it's out of the Five Eyes region. So he can get on with his career, and we get Jonathan Hagy, and Jonathan Hagy welcomes himself to the UFC against an aging out Alexander Volkanovski. Wow, that is fun, right? Is that not a fun solution to the Khamzat Chimaev problem? I don't know, just an idea that I had. Let me know, is that a... I'd say it. Let me know, is that a crazy idea? Is that just too far gone? Would Dana White never want to trade or do business with one championship again? Who knows? Let me know down there in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, maybe you could hit that subscribe button. It means so much to small creators like myself. And of course, I'll see you all in the next one.